and so am I. Yeah, I was just thinking because we're going to cook Italian today. I was thinking of the great Italian singers, pop singers, Dean Martin, and when the moon hits your eye like a big, and Jerry Vale and Perry Como. I just love their music and I love their food even more. We have a great program planned for you today. We really do. We're going to take you to Tuscany and we're going to make a Tuscan bread salad. Stay tuned as Mark Alyn hits the air. And as always, we welcome you to Mark Alyn Cooks. We are here live on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and on Facebook. And if you're watching, if you have questions about what we're going to do and our guest, we invite you to ask your questions. Let us know where you live, and we really appreciate that. Okay, let us go right now to Calabasas, California, where it's not exactly Tuscany, but it's close. We've got Coleen Kirnan on, and she is the author of a great book called Tuscan Women Cook, and it's behind me right now. We'll bring some up. There it is. Thank you, Carol. And we're here. Thank you, Coleen.
Thank you, Mark. It's so great to be here. What a fun show you have.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. We're going to start by making an Italian cocktail, and I can't wait. I think you, and we're going to find out all kinds of things about you and Tuscan women cooking in just a couple of minutes. This is a spritz, and we'll do that in a second. How long have you liked to cook, and did you cook with your own Nonna?
Oh gosh, I've loved to cook my whole life. My mother was a terrible cook, so I skipped a generation, but my grandmother was. But what the joy of this program is, the Nonnas in our little village of Montefilonaco of Italy in Tuscany, and they have been cooking for generations and generations. So what we make could be 7 generations of a recipe. This panzanella is a very good choice, Mark, for our show because it's very, very old recipe, very, very traditional. Mm-hmm. Tuscan food is povere. It's poor food. You know, Tuscany was a very poor region, and salt was expensive, and eggs you needed to sell. You couldn't eat them. You had to sell them. So I think the Tuscans have done an amazing job of making the best food they can possibly make with the limited ingredients that are just so fresh and clean, and the food is just absolutely buonissimo.
I can't. Well, we're gonna mangia, right?
Yep.
We're gonna start.
But let's drink first.
I'm sorry.
We're gonna drink first, no?
Oh, we are going to drink first, please. It's been a long day already. I'm going to start. And I'm going to move this away. Carol, if you take the book out, with this very special orange. We have a orange tree that produces wonderful, wonderful oranges. And this is our last one of the season. So I'm going to make a very thin slice, cut it in half. And you told me to put that in. Should I put both halves in?
Yeah, I like that flavor. You know, that's personal preference too.
Sure. And I'll take the orange out, and I'll wipe this down. I'm going to move this over to here. And what goes in next?
So in the book, our recipe for the Aperol Spritz is in there. So if you want to get the book, you can just go to our website. But it's a third, and a third of Aperol, which is a liqueur, really derivative of rhubarb. So it's a really interesting flavor. It's bitter. So you cut that with some sweet Prosecco. And Prosecco, as Mark knows, is also like champagne. It has to come from Prosecco, the region of Prosecco. And that's to the north because that's where the white wines come with the colder climates. And so you put a third of the Aperol, a third of your um, Prosecco.
You tell me.
Yeah, depends on how big you, how full you want your glass to be.
Well,
So
we'll do it
there
like
you go.
that. I'll be making a second glass later. Now, let's see how
There you go.
well I do on
Well,
popping the
interesting on
cork.
Prosecco too. A lot
Yeah,
of people prefer Prosecco in a lot of ways because, especially for these types of drinks, with the bitter in it, like so the Aperol is or the Prosecco is a little sweeter than some of the sparkling wines, and it helps balance it out. So that, and then the last thing you're going to do, we'll talk about, but some of the I think you've heard of these new drinks now too that they're making Negronis with Prosecco,
right.
and those have become very popular.
Carol really likes a Negroni. She
Oh,
really
well,
likes a Negroni. All
yeah,
right, let's
Negronis
see
are
if I can get
fantastic.
this right. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4,
Yeah,
5, 6.
it's the
There we
best
go.
sound in the
All right.
world. There we go.
Okay.
So about another third of that. And if you don't have enough room, I'd probably hold back on the club soda, then or the club soda, than the prosecco.
Should I
But
put more
that's
prosecco
just
in?
me.
Well,
Well,
yeah.
I think
Why not?
why not? It's
Why
Wednesday.
not? Yay! You're right. I like
And
that.
it's
That's Wednesday. All right, I'm
yeah.
going to pop. Now, I have a can of seltzer, and it's seltzer. Um, and I want people to know there's a difference between club soda and seltzer. Club soda has sodium in it. Um, Seltzer does not. Does yours?
Yeah, I'm looking at it. It's 4%. It has
Wow.
95 milligrams of soda.
Ooh, that's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
So,
So seltzer is good. But you know, in
is
Italy,
this?
you're not going to argue with them. So
No, this is beautiful. So I'm going
isn't
to
it
stir
pretty?
it. When I
Wait,
stir
wait,
it, oh,
right? So this is the most important part of making your Aperol spritz. And it's to pay an homage to the bubbles that are in there. So you want to very slowly stir it from the bottom going up with your straw a little bit, as much as you can. If you had a spoon, you could do that. But the reason being, if you just go in and start swishing around, you're going to break up the bubbles. So we're trying to preserve the bubbles here.
got it. I love the tickle of the bubble. All right, here we go.
All
This is
right,
the
chin
best
chin.
part of the day. Um, what would be what's an Italian uh,
Ooh,
uh,
so many. Chin
salutation?
chin,
Chin chin.
chin
That's what.
chin. Yes, there's
Carol,
salute.
all right, we're going to do Coleen first, and we've got Carol over here.
We've got our whole office now on a Wednesday having bubbles, so
Yes.
yay.
Okay.
Thank you. And you
Oh,
know,
this
in
is
Italy, when you toast, you make eye contact and you take a
right.
drink. You would never set your glass down nor look away. So
Trina K says this is her favorite spring cocktail. I have to tell you, I have not had this before, and I tend to drink the same thing all all over. Oh, Heidi Nickerson Levy is in the house from Louisville, Kentucky. I said Louisville this time too, and and okay, Tuscan Women Cook ours too. Yeah, this is wonderful.
isn't it tasty? It's very refreshing. It's an
Mm-hmm.
iconic drink that you'll see all over Tuscany and Italy. Even Milan, they have it up there too. It's a very beautiful, refreshing drink, and it's not heavy on the alcohol. So where the Negroni does have a little bit higher alcohol
And
concentration.
and Trina has just let us know that in the you have a Negroni recipe in the book as
Sure,
well.
we do.
I've loved the book. I really do. It's got a lot of great pictures in there. And hey, Mitchell. Mitchell is in Las Vegas, Nevada. Hello there. He works for MGM. How about that? I'm giving you a plug, Mitchell. Remember that. Okay. Oh, Carol keeps asking me for the drink. No? Oh, the comments. Mitchell, you can always use more Prosecco. Yes.
More prosecco is always good. Molto
More
prosecco.
Prosecco. It's really, really nice. I can imagine that on a summer day, out at a barbecue. I think that would be really, really tasty. Okay.
It's really easy to make, and the Aperol itself. So I want to tell your guests and your listeners, it's a little pricey, but you can get a good deal at one of the retailers. But you only use a little bit, so it goes a long way. You'll have it for a long time.
Yeah, this is really nice. Oh, um, excuse me. Oh
It's a little
boy,
addicting.
and the bubbles are just perfect. Okay. Well, we're going to clean up just a bit. I'm going to hand this over to Carol to put away. That's the Prosecco. And I'm going to take our last orange of the season from our own orange tree. Oh,
Well, thank you for
delicious.
sharing. Thank you for
Yes.
sharing.
So I'm going to move that there. And I think it's time to start making the salad. So I'm going to make it in this bowl. Is that good?
Perfect.
All right. And tell me what to
Perfetto.
do first.
Okay, first I want to talk a little bit about this dish.
Okay.
The recipe we have in our cookbook for the panzanella is the way our nonna Lorella makes it. And one thing we know about our nonnas, we do not deviate from their recipes um, in our classes. However, this is a great recipe to add and subtract from. In our cookbook, it's Lorella's recipe, and we are not going to deviate. So traditionally, you'd have this again. Tuscany was a very poor region, so this would be stale bread because they make bread every day. It's
Right.
in our village. It's so lovely that the bread man comes and drops bags of bread off at people's homes. So bread is a big part of the life, and you can't always use it all, so they'll use their stale bread, and it gets pretty stale really quickly because obviously there's no preservatives.
Right.
So it's stale pretty quickly. Here, not so much. And what you would do is if you have stale bread, use it, get it as hard as you can, and then you would add, per our recipe, a little water to it to soften it up. But today, we're not going to do that because we don't always have super stale bread.
I didn't
And
have stale bread.
right? So
I may
you
be
could,
stale. My jokes are stale, but my bread is fresh.
no, you can also pop it in the oven, kind of get it more stale if you want to use the water step, or in your toaster oven or something like that, or on the grill, you could dry it out. But today, we're not doing that today. And so today, we're not going to add the water that's in the recipe in the cookbook. So, first thing Mark is going to do is take that bread and make cute little, what you would think is what do you want to eat? So, what size bite do you want in your mouth?
Is that a
Yes.
good
Yeah.
size?
Whatever so true in so many recipes. How do you want it to be as you bite it, right? So it's not a perfect diameter and circumference. It's just how you would like to bite that bread with the other ingredients. A super, super easy recipe. What's also great about this is it sits. And that's the other thing. So they would take this and pack it up in the farmers' lunches, and they're out in the fields with their tractors all day. This is something that can sit. It's not going to spoil. There's no dairy in it. So it's a very forgiving recipe, and also, something if you're having a luncheon or something, you can do it, let it sit. And it's one of those recipes as well that sometimes the longer it sits, the flavors meld a little better. So get that one done first, and then go make the other ingredients. It's a
Got it.
really easy,
Well,
easy, easy recipe to make.
I'm putting all this bread in, and it's funny. Um, I wasn't a bread person until Carol. I wasn't an ice cream person until Carol either. And she weighs less today than when we got married a few years ago. And I don't. I weigh more.
Oh, that Carol.
Yeah. So I'm going to I'm still breaking up some bread.
It's also great about this recipe is, especially if you have a garden, these are very easy things to have. It's tomatoes and some basil,
Yes.
cucumber if you want it, some red onion. These are, if we want to live off the land,
We uh,
we can.
we've uh, we've been growing tomatoes for the last couple of years, and sometimes they work, and sometimes they don't. And I hate when they don't. Or you pay $40 worth of tomato plants and get 6 tomatoes. Um, I really hate that. So I'm not sure what we're going to plant this year. It's just about time to do that. All right. So let me show you what I've done with the bread.
Okay.
And there you
Looks
go.
good. Looks
All right.
delicious.
Oh,
And
excuse me.
Mark, you made a comment. You can use any kind of bread. So I think Mark said he's got some sourdough in there and some stuff he
Yeah.
had, and that's the point of this recipe, right? Is to
Hmm.
use up. We do not waste anything. We don't waste anything in Tuscany. So everything will become part of the table, and for dinner or lunch or breakfast or lunch or dinner. We don't really eat a lot of breakfast there.
I'm going to go bring a couple more ingredients over. Um, I've got tomatoes. I've got onion. I've got those chopped. I'll move the knife. I've got. Now you told me about the cucumbers, and you said that that's not. I noticed that that was in your recipe, but it's not traditional.
Not exactly traditional, but it's becoming more so. They wouldn't have had really a lot of an abundance of cucumber back in the day when this recipe was developed. So, but you see it on a lot of menus now. So
Right.
we included it in our cookbook.
We should have translated some Italian. Okay, Nona's is grandma. Now I remember watching my grandmother cook. She was not a Nona. She was a bubby. There's a difference. But I loved watching her cook. It was great. And my mom was a good cook. She wasn't experimental, but she was a good basic cook. You learned from your Nona, your grandmother, as you said.
Well, in our program, these are our nonas are Italian in our village, so these
Got it.
recipes are their family recipes.
I'm asking
My
about.
mother was not a good cook, hence I had to learn
What
to
about
cook.
your grandmother?
My grandmother was a very good cook, and
Got it.
one of the best parts of this whole program, and I can tell you, is when I watch our guests around the table and we're around a big making pasta or we're at the stove making some sauces. Um, we have a fair amount of people in tears because they've had that experience. I'm going to cry thinking about it. They have that experience with their grandmother in their own home, either Canada, Australia, US, where most of our guests come from, and you just have this smell memory
Oh,
and the memory of their grandmas, and they don't always have the recipes, right?
with the
So
with the with the holidays, Easter and Passover, so close together, especially this year, and they're usually tied fairly close. Um, I ate. I don't remember what it was that I ate, but I remembered. I guess it was. I don't know what it was, but it reminded me. I instantly went back to growing up in the San Fernando Valley and thinking of my father, my mom, my 2 sisters, my grandparents, my uncle, my cousin, my aunt. I mean, on and on. It just it the taste brought that all back. And I remember being around this big table, and it was family. It was great. Okay,
yeah.
enough crying, Mark. Um,
Right. Well, food is love. This is how I show my love is by cooking and feeding people, and that's how we show
okay,
our
I'll be
love
there at
for.
6 o'clock tonight. You're not that far
I'm
away.
ready.
I'll
I'm ready.
bring the salad. So I've got the bread broken up. What do I do next?
You've got the bread broken up. Now it's a smorgasbord. You put your tomatoes in. It's not like a layering situation like the Aperol where we're trying to
Okay.
prevent the bubble from. So you've got your tomatoes.
Now, let me ask you about cutting the tomatoes. I've seeded these. These are Campari tomatoes. They're organic. And I seed my tomatoes. I just see that I didn't get the core on that one. It stuck to my face, my finger. But I always seed the tomatoes and dry them.
Mm.
Is that something you do or not?
Not as particular as you. If I had, I mean, that's a really nice gesture for you to do for your dinner guests. We use a lot of Roma tomatoes, and then you can just easily scoop out the inside. So I do that a lot. But if this doesn't really, it's not a particular recipe. It's not fancy.
Got it. All right, so I've got, I'm going to put in cucumbers. Uh, May as well.
Por qué no?
Now,
Why not?
we have noticed over the years that purple onions are sharp. I cut these about an hour and a half ago, maybe, and they are sharp. Um, you know what, Carol? Give me a paper towel, please. They've been sitting. Thank you. Whoa. And I'm going to dry them off just a little bit because Carol's taking the spritz.
Yay, Carol.
Yay, Carol. Okay. Now, I like a lot of onion. So there we go.
So this recipe is again, it's really up to you. I don't care for onion in mine, so I don't put it in. So this is something that you can make your own.
Got it. Now, the next thing I happen to have handy is some crushed garlic.
Yeah, add it. Let's go.
Add it, okay?
Let's add it.
Oh man, look how pretty that looks. Isn't that gorgeous?
Gorgeous. I wish we could smell it. It looks so pretty.
I have to tell you, we're trying to invent smell-o-vision. And I've been working on this for a number of years, and we're almost there.
Oh.
Um, I've got over here a couple of other ingredients. Now, we don't cook with a lot of salt. Neither Carol or I grew up with a lot of salt. Um, we both like pepper. So,
Good. There you go. So you're gonna, yeah. Okay. Sometimes I'll take the olive oil and the vinegar and the salt and pepper in a bowl, mix it up. But what you're doing is fine.
I could do that.
You bet it's
Um,
neither here nor there.
I didn't realize that, so I'm going to add it here. I did it backwards, folks. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and you'll see in restaurants in Italy, they just do the oil and the vinegar. Sometimes when you do mix it together, especially because this is bread that's going to be soaking it up, you want it to be consistent. But it's not a big deal, honestly.
Got it.
There we go.
And by the way, I'm using an Italian olive oil. It's Bono. This is
Good.
Sicilian. Um, in Tuscany, do they grow grapes, olives?
Oh yeah, it's one of the third biggest exports of their economy is olive oils, and we visit some incredible farms and vineyards that have the olive oils that we can bring home and ship home are just spectacular, and we can get there for the press, and these are the first presses, and they're green, extra virgin, cold press. Yum.
I did a little video promoting our show today, and one of the statements I said in there, and somebody called me on it. I said, I've never met an olive I didn't like. I have never met an olive I didn't like. I always have olives in the refrigerator, which drives Carol crazy because we have so many jars. But I love olives. Driving through Spain a number of years ago, olive orchard after olive orchard, it was great. I can't wait when we get to Italy sometime. All right, here I'm going to put in vinegar.
A lot of the landscape and the photography you see are iconic. Those iconic shots are a lot of olive trees and orchards. So there, through Tuscany, you will pass some beautiful olive trees
Oh, we
and some
can't
very
wait.
old ones too. Yeah.
All right, here we go. I have to tell you one thing. Um, Carol, you could come back. Yeah, thank you. I really like this.
Good. A comfort. Another one.
Now, I have a lot of basil, fresh basil, organic basil. Do I put that on before I toss this?
I would put that on at the end. You could do
Okay.
it, toss it a little bit, and then put it on. And then you probably know this, but our Nona would never cut the basil. You would just tear it.
Yes, and that's what I do
Okay, good.
because
No nods here today.
I was in one lifetime I was Asian, and in another lifetime I was Italian. I know this. I wasn't Julius Caesar or anything, but oh, Philip Ann, can you
Yes.
use
Hi, Phil.
balsamic vinegar or a vinaigrette in this? That's a good question, Philip.
Sure, absolutely. This is a very, very forgiving recipe. You can add to it. I think I know people that have added, roasted red peppers or anything that you like. This can be built upon. So yeah, balsamic would be nice, but I go easy on that because again, the bread is going to soak up any liquid that you put in there. So just make sure it's something you want to take a bite of that's not overwhelmed. And for sure, if you're using balsamic, mix it with the olive oil first.
I should mention a couple of things. Um, I like this is called Stonewall, yeah, Stonewall Kitchens, and I like their products a lot. They're non-GMO, uh, organic, um, and you can get that just about anywhere. They also have several balsamics. One of them we really like. It's a reduced balsamic,
Mm.
but I have to do some research on that because it may not be true balsamic. Their organic balsamic from Stonewall is organic. And now I have some um, basil and talk about smell-o-vision.
Yeah.
So I'm tearing up, and how much should I put in? I like the taste, but
Yeah, I like, again, it's your personal preference. And again, the size and the cut that you're going to, or the tear that you're going to do is what you want to put in your mouth on your fork. So it's not a science, it's just personal preference.
got it. My dad would make salads, and my mother would always complain that his salads were too big to eat. She'd have to cut it up again. I
Uh,
remember that. Carol
yes,
has accused
exactly.
me of that as well.
I think you're good with the basil,
Okay.
but you guys are the ones eating this. So, right?
This
This
is
is
our
your
dinner
dinner.
tonight, part of our
Okay.
dinner tonight. Okay. I'm going to toss it again.
It's interesting too. A lot of Italian dishes, the margherita pizza, this dish are the colors of the Italian flag. So if you've got the
Oh,
green
red,
and the,
white.
and
Yeah.
yeah. So
So
there's
before I
not.
taste this, I'm going to put you on the spot, Coleen. Will you come back?
Oh, I'd love to. Are we out of
Are you?
time already?
Yeah,
Okay.
we're almost out of. I'm
Well, that
sorry.
was fun. Cheers.
Eat it here or out of here? Oh, okay. Thank you. I was going to do that. Where was the fork go? There it is.
Yeah, we have a lot of recipes we could do.
Oh, good.
It'd be fun.
Yeah, Heidi, you were right. It looks yummy. Wait till I taste it. This is the part where I take credit for other people's recipes. And I have to tell you that when I'm cooking, I never practice this in advance. Okay? I do this cold. Sometimes I screw up, sometimes I don't. I think I did a good job this time. Let's
I
see.
think you nailed it today. Looks
Yeah.
great. It's perfect.
Oh my. It's so fresh.
Yeah.
Mm.
We say this, squisito. So you put your hand up to your cheek and you twist it and it's squisito,
Mm.
exquisite. Usually
Good
because your
grief.
mouth is full so you can't talk. It's a
I got
hand.
to tell you, I do like my own cooking. um,
Great job.
yeah, no, this is delicious. Excuse me, folks. Carol, you're not getting any. This is my dinner. Mm, really good.
Jamie. That's funny. Long time.
Oh, um, this is fun and it looks yummy. Thank you, Jamie. We appreciate that.
Okay.
Chris Carl.
Hi, Chris. She's a former guest.
Oh yeah.
Come
You know
back and
what?
see
You
ya.
know what I forgot to tell you or say to everybody is that in the book. Let me get the book out. I'm holding it up. The introduction was from Valerie Bertinelli,
Yeah.
and it's really. I mean, she took your class. That's how you
She
met.
came. And you know, can I tell you, Mark, she is exactly how she presents herself. She's warm, she's funny, she's sweet, she's a pro. She's just a really lovely woman. She's a good cook. Very, very, very good cook. She had and she was one too with her nonas that she cooked with on both sides of her family. So yeah, she's a wonderful. She had us on her show. So we were on her show. Yeah. She's
Well,
lovely.
maybe we could be on her show. Maybe you and I could do a show. We are doing a
Let's
show.
do a
What am
show.
I?
We're doing a show right
We're
now.
doing a show right now. Listen, I thank you very much. Denise Anderson, it looks amazing. And oh, that's right. Um, I can't read that, Kara. You have to bring it up. Thanks. Looks amazing. And Mike's mom would love it. And so would you. Yes, I got to tell you, it's easy to make. You know, I know this is Mark Allen Cooks. There's no cooking involved in this recipe, folks. If
That's
you
true.
can chop, if you can cut, you can do it. So get off your butts, get into your kitchen, move away that stack of pizza boxes that you've been stacking and storing. I don't know why people would do that, but they do. And make this salad. We'll have the recipe up by tomorrow on YouTube. You can check it out by going to youtube.com/slash Mark Allen Cooks Your Dinner. This is fabulous stuff. Um, Coleen, you're terrific. I can't
Grazie.
wait. I can't
Grazie,
wait to look.
grazie.
Yeah, this is so amazing. And I am starving, but I walk around hungry anyway. And it's just I can't believe how good it is. Um,
Well, this is
this
a
piece of
great
bread is a
show.
little
What a
bit too
great
big.
format you have here.
Oh well, thank
You
you.
know, where you do the work and we just get to look at it. It's so fun. And just,
Well, as I tell a lot of women chefs, it's like having a husband you can yell at, right? Oh,
I need one of those. Where do you buy them?
you got hey, anytime. I want to
Okay.
learn how to make a true marinara. Mitchell, thank you for your comments from Las Vegas. I appreciate that. Um, terrific. Well,
But
let
we
me
have a
tell you.
great marinara recipe. So if anytime you want to do that, we can.
All right, good. We can do that. I make a red sauce. I do a couple of things. I make a squid, what I call an Italian squid uh, dish. Only my son-in-law, my father-in-law, my son-in-law and I eat it. Nobody else will eat it. But um, and I make a pasta sauce that I think is great. And some people do, and some people don't. And we have Anita Wallman. No way, Anita. I I think we probably had Passover together, Anita. I haven't talked to Anita in years. I need you to get in touch with me, Anita. I've been thinking about you because you did something for me 41 years ago that I never thanked you for. 41 years ago. Wow. All right.
You're going to
We're done.
leave us with that, Mark? We don't know what it is. And that's,
Do you
you're
want
not
me
going
to
to,
tell you? She
well,
got me drunk the day my dad died.
oh,
She did. She
oh,
she was a good friend. We grew
that
up
was helpful.
together. I haven't talked to Anita in years. I've been thinking about her though. Thank you
Great.
very much, Coleen. I appreciate it. I'm going to ask you to hold on for just a couple of moments, folks. Next week, we're going to feature a naturopathic doctor. He's going to make a duck pizza with me. A duck pizza, can you imagine? And it's going to be fabulous and healthy. We'll be talking about his company as well, which is Plantiva, and they make a lot of supplements. I called them up because I love their allergy products. Dries me up in 20 minutes. We'll talk about that next week. Listen, have a good night. Have a good day. Manja manja, everybody, and chin chin. Thank you, Carol.